Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You have reached the Alex Morgan Show. I will be your host, Alex Morgan. On this lovely evening, we have been a lot of news going on. Been a lot happening in politics. Um, Trump, he goes left. Trump, he goes right. Trump, he zigs, he zags, he goes every way. Um, have we witnessed a small military coup within the past, I don't know, couple of weeks since um, we've lost Steve Bannon and the generals are now pushing our country's agenda. Well, it's not our country's agenda, it's the people's agenda, and they're pushing it in the wrong direction, folks. He comes out one day and he says he's going to get rid of DACA, and then the next day, DACA had thing anymore. Um, I don't know what to think. Well, yeah, I do know what to think too. We've been had, folks. Um, the liberalism liberalism side of Trump has came out right here these past few days. Um, he he praised Nancy Pelosi. He praised Chuck Schumer. After they have sat and talked about him like a dog, accused his family of being uh, the awfulest crime lord, crime syndicate that this nation has ever seen, folks. Hey, if somebody talked that bad about me, I wouldn't talk to them no more unless I was destroying them publicly, politically. Uh, this isn't this isn't the same man that ran for president back during the 2016 election, folks. This is a totally different man in office. And I know that there's people out there everywhere just afraid to criticize a daggone thing that the president does. But let me tell you something. I didn't vote for this. I voted for a little thing. Uh, 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 you know, my little morals, my own little beliefs. Um, I wanted I wanted a border wall. I wanted I wanted immigration laws pushed. I wanted I wanted jobs. I wanted a life, folks. I don't know how you all are living out there in the middle of America, but let me tell you, right out here in these hills of Kentucky, hey, it's a piss poor living. Let me tell you something. I get by the skin of my teeth. Can't find a job. I be put in at 20 or 30 different places. No, you can't get a job. I I I don't know what to say, folks. We got a hurricane from Haiti slamming in from. I mean, not little place Haiti, but the depths of Haiti. Hurricane Irma's fixing to make landfall in Florida. We already have 3 states that have declared national state of emergency. I'm sorry. And I'll just tell you, this is not conservatism that we're witnessing. This we have these people that have done nothing discredit the American voters' right to vote, have discredited our president, his whole life of business. All they've done is discredit him and his family. But all of a sudden, there they are in the White House, all smiling and sitting there with their teeth in their mouth, just like, they're so happy. We got Nancy Pelosi sitting here smiling. Chuck Schumer, he's grinning ear to ear. That big witch nose sticking out over out chin. Then turtleneck over. How many licks does it take you to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop, Mr. Owl? Mitch McConnell even thinks that the president went more left than Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, folks. Does this tell you anything? Or are you getting this? Folks, my job is not to bow down to the president. My job is to sit back on the sidelines and observe what these elected officials in office. And my job is to hold them accountable, okay? That's my tax dollars, that's your tax dollars that they're spending, that they're getting paid week in, week out to serve and protect us. And folks, this isn't serving and protecting us. Let me tell you something. I've had dreams all of my life, which I'm sure everybody else has too. But let me tell you something. Life has turned out so different than what I've ever imagined. Okay, and out of all of these dreams that I've had throughout my life, you know how many of them that I've actually accomplished? That many. Zero. And along comes a bunch of illegal, undocumented illegals, pretty much, might as well say. Excuse me. Calling themselves or being called by a certain political group the quote dreamers, and these are Nobel winning God's gift to humanity, the most bright, intelligent, most smartest children on the face of this earth. Okay, Obama he makes an executive order, I guess, to have them stay in the U.S., live on our tax dollars, mine and your tax dollars. Let me tell you something, folks. Do you think that Donald Trump giving all those liberals what they want during a debt ceiling. How long do you what do you think that's going to do to our economy? How long do you think that our economy is going to last? What time Trump just handing over whatever that you want, Chuck Schumer? You know, do you need anything, Nancy Pelosi? Way out there in the California stronghold, Your Highness. They have cut his throat for the last over a year. Over a year, they have cut his throat. Ain't had one good thing to say about him. And when they meet, why you'd think that there would have been a little tension in the room, a little, you know, you could have cut it with a knife. You'd think. Let me tell you something. This shit's more fake. Excuse my language. This is a family-friendly show. Excuse my language. I'm sorry. There's a reason why that politicians are politicians, okay? They're not good actors, okay, folks? They're actually worse than wrestlers. They're worse than the people you see on WWE, whatever days. Who knows, man? I'm sorry. I've worked for the last 18, 20 hours, I guess. I got up at 6:30 this morning. I've been busy. I've got a new website. I thought it had launched, but they said it could take up to 48 hours. But yeah, you need to go to alexmorgannews.com. Check out all the news stories that I'm going to be posting. I do my best to gather all the best news articles I can from around the internet. Always trying to point out the bias and the hypocrisy from the mainstream media. There ain't many people going to do that, folks. So let's watch this video right here.
Welcome back. Tonight I'm obsessed with how deep the are in the country today and how they correspond with our political party IDs. In our new NBC News Wall Street Journal poll, we asked people whether they are comfortable with America becoming more diverse and tolerant of different lifestyles, gender roles, languages, cultures, and experiences. The responses give us a good picture of why the country is divided. 85% of liberals say yes, they are comfortable with changes to American society like that. So do 81% of Hillary Clinton voters, 77% of Democrats, and 65% of urban residents. On the other hand, only 38% of rural residents say they are comfortable with these changes. So only 33% of conservatives, 30 Republicans, and 28% of Trump. All right, let's get a bit more specific. More Americans than not say they're okay with immigration, globalization, and same-sex marriage. But the 85% of Clinton voters say strengthens the U.S., while just 38% of Trump voters agree. The same split can be seen on same-sex marriage and on globalization. The one area that pushes against more progressive opinion is gun rights. Just 23% of Clinton voters say they worry that government will go too far in regulating gun rights, while 78% of Trump voters feel that way. How does this play out in voting? Two words for you. West Virginia, which is rural, conservative, increasingly Republican. 1996, Bill Clinton won West Virginia by 15 points. Just 20 years later, Donald Trump won it by almost 43 points.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe. Just
pretty interesting little video there. Let's move on.
say they'll only support a 3-month increase in the debt ceiling. It seems like they're trying to extract something.
I think that's a ridiculous idea. I hope that they don't mean that. Let's just think about this. We've got all this devastation in Texas. We've got another unprecedented hurricane about to hit Florida, and they want to play politics with the debt ceiling? That will strand the aid that we need to bring to these victims of these storms that have occurred or are about to occur, and then they also want to threaten default on our debt. I think that's ridiculous and disgraceful that they want to play politics with the debt ceiling at this moment when we have fellow citizens in need to respond to these hurricanes so that we do not strand them. What the leaders you just described proposed is unworkable, and it could put in jeopardy the kind of hurricane response we need to have. Look, many of us got the calls from the administration and OMB who said FEMA is moving so fast that we're running out of money as early as Friday to Tuesday. So we've got to make sure that we have the authority, legal authority, to go out and be able to put money back into FEMA so we can respond to these hurricanes. Not to mention the fact that we already have to start pre-positioning for the fact that Irma is about to hit Florida. And to play politics with a debt ceiling, like Schumer and Pelosi apparently are doing, I don't think is a good idea.
Well, it must be a pretty good idea.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our...
It must be a pretty good idea. They're getting what they want. I mean, you know, it ain't like they're not succeeding in what they're doing. So, yeah. Or I don't know, folks. I don't know. I really don't. Hey, just a reminder. T-shirts are still on sale. alexmorganshow.com/online-store. You can just go to alexmorganshow.com and click the online store link at the top of the page. I know that I've not done an episode in the last couple of days, but folks, I've been really busy. I've been trying to get some things that I need for this show. I've been working on some new websites. FreedomInternetRadio.com is now open. I don't think that Alex Morgan News is still not working, which it should be by in the morning when my tech people comes back in to office. I've actually got the website finished. I've actually published it, but yeah, it's gotta, I guess, be registered on their servers or whatever. So, but yeah, all of a sudden, Paul Ryan. That's pretty bad. Paul Ryan is talking more conservative than Donald Trump, folks. That is scary, okay? It really is. But before I get into any more of these news articles, before I even move on, I want to talk to y'all. The cost to run this little operation is becoming unbearable. I need to make some money. I've got bills to pay. I've got a couple of things ordered, which it's paid for. But like I said, I got bills to pay. You can go to alexmorganshow.com, go to my online store, take advantage of the t-shirt sale that I've extended. If you could go to paypal.me/alexmorganshow gofundme.com/amorgan83, I think it is. I don't know, but go to gofundme.com/AlexMorganShow. I'll get back to it. Is right here. That's a log back in. It's paypal.me/amorgan83. Again, that link, paypal.me/amorgan83. Hey, if you'd send me $1, $2, that would make me as happy as if you just send me $10 or $20. Just to be honest, okay? Just whatever you can afford. I don't want to take no money from anybody that needs their money. I know this is a hard time that we're all having right now, and we just gotta buckle down, whatever. But hey, if you're somebody that's got plenty money and you believe in what I'm talking about, you believe in helping people and trying to solve this national debt, trying to get rid of these banksters who print our money. They call themselves the Fed, but they've got nothing to do with the Fed. If you want to get rid of this thing called the New World Order, the Illuminati, then and you got money, you got more money than you need. Hey, go to AlexMorganShow.com, buy a T-shirt or two, and give it to a homeless person. Give it to somebody that's suffering from about that much poverty. Somebody that could use a new T-shirt. I'm sure you know somebody that could use a new T-shirt. I've got sizes all the way down to children medium, I think. Both boys and girls. I've got this one deal going with this embroidering company. They can embroider pretty much anything that you want. They've got some really nice zip up hoodies right now. I think I put that link up on freedominternetradio.com on that web store. But if you don't want a shirt that's got like my little designs on it, that's fine too. You can come up with your own designs. Hey, that's cool. Send me a link. I'm sorry. Send me an email to alex@alexmorganshow.com of a design that you like. Send me a message with a little bit of detail in it. The customized embroidered hoodies, they're $60 plus shipping. But hey, winter time's coming. You're not going to find a better hoodie anywhere. This is something other that you can work in. If you're a small business owner, order yourself 2 or 3 to advertise your business in your area, your community. You'd be helping your business and helping us too. But yeah, a good sale going on. Those T-shirts for the Alex Morgan Show, they're $19.99 a piece. That's only for a limited amount of time. I put them on sale before my birthday. I actually wanted to have a little contest, but there wasn't even nobody that entered. How you gonna give away T-shirts if nobody enters the contest? I mean, really. But anyway, I know that's pretty sad, right? You can't even give nothing away. But I'll probably be having another one here pretty soon. Folks, I want y'all to know something. I don't do this show trying to like be famous or anything like that. Being famous is the least thing that I want. I want to change the world for the better, okay? And when I say for the better, I don't mean like from a one world government, kumbaya, no borders, nothing like that, you know. Let me tell you something about those people and their little programs. They come at you talking about nothing but love, nothing but peace. It's going to be the best of times, and it's going to be one world community, and we're all going to love one another and come together. You know, there'll be little white boys and girls and playing with little black boys and girls and little Asian boys and girls, and they'll all just be hugging and loving one another, you know. I'm not racist, but um, this illegal immigration has got to stop, folks. We've got to put down our foot and make them enforce these immigration laws. They're taking our jobs. They're driving down the wages of our jobs. They're using our tax dollars to support these people in these sanctuary cities. Folks, this is not the America that I want, okay? I don't know about you all, but I don't. And I've got nothing against people coming here from other countries, but you know that they should be documentation, and they should go back the legal way. They shouldn't have to come here illegally if they want to come here. Do you think I would go to some other country illegally? Do you think that I would take the chance? I'm going to another country illegally. I don't care if it was the best country that you could imagine. Better than the United States, you know, if there's a possibility, which I'm sure there is, but no, if I wanted to immigrate somewhere, you know, make a new life for myself, I would definitely go about it the legal way, or I wouldn't go about it at all. That's just the way it is. But these Democrats, they they want to get these people here. They want those people to see who keeps them there, you know. Then they want those people to vote for them. They want their children to vote for them. Before you know it, folks, we're the minority. Look at England. England is overran right now by Muslims. Oh my God. They've got a Muslim mayor that won't say the word terrorism. Especially he won't say radical Islamic terrorism. No, that don't exist. But that's the world that they want you to live in, you know. I don't know, like I don't know what y'all. Y'all can tell by that noise. There's definitely something under my house. I got a couple of cats. Stays around here, but no, that sounded bigger than any cat. the greater your life becomes. I'd like to start going to different places and like really covering stuff instead of like using other people's news articles and they're writing. I'd like to write some news articles, and I'd even like to get other people together to help me. I've got some friends in other parts of the country here and there, but I mean, I'm looking for people that's serious, people that's got the strongest ethics that you ever seen. I know that that's hard to find, but folks, if we don't fight for this, if we just let them take our country, take our currency, our money, or tax dollars, we're not going to have a country for long, okay? That's easy to see. And listen, I elected Donald Trump because I knew that Ted Cruz couldn't beat Hillary, okay? I know why, and you know why. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But Trump was the only man in that race right there that could beat Hillary. I knew in my heart that he was the only one. And I think all of y'all knew it too. There ain't no way that I would have voted for anybody else. And if he goes further to the left than any other politician, I still won't regret voting for him. I mean, I'd rather see I'd rather see anybody president than Hillary Clinton myself, you know. But now let me tell you something. I'm not going to stand for a president that's supporting Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer. I'm just not going to stand for that. If this continues, I will do my part to see that something is done, definitely. I mean, listen, I condone all forms of violence, okay? I wouldn't be violent in any way for nothing, cause that's not solving nothing. That don't help nothing. Um, if I get mad at you and beat you to death or kill you or something, that don't help me a bit. That don't help me get my way. folks, go over to, like I said, go over to alexmorganshow.com, buy a t-shirt, buy a coffee cup, buy anything. Send me $1, send me $2, whatever. Let's get into some news. GOP livid after Trump cuts deal with Democrats. Congressional Republicans say the move will embolden Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi in future times. This article comes from Politico.com by Burgess Everett, Rachel Bade, and John Bresnahan. President Donald Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's Tita on Tuesday after a summer of snapping between the two lifted Republican hopes that the GOP would finally back in sync ahead of a brutal fight deadlines. Not 24 hours later, the president cut a deal with Democrats on a short-term debt ceiling increase opposed by McConnell and House Speaker Paul Ryan just Wednesday morning. In fact, Ryan had scoffed at the Democratic offer that Trump accepted minutes later. In the aftermath, Republicans seethed privately and distanced themselves publicly from the deal. They were left to hope that Trump's collaboration with Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi was a temporary dalliance and not the new MO for the president. Quote, obviously, it would have been better not to make us vote repeatedly on the debt ceiling, but I'm not surprised, end quote, sighed Senator Roger Wicker, Republican from Mississippi. He went on to say, quote, I think Mitch would have rather have done it differently, but not worth having a big old fight over, end quote. Quote, a 3-month debt ceiling, question mark. Why not do a daily debt ceiling, question mark, end quote, cracked Representative Mike Simpson, Republican from Idaho. Quote, he's the best deal maker ever? Don't you know? Question mark. I mean, he's got a book out. End quote. Trump's deal with Democrats doesn't appear to help Republicans at all. While it averts a fog over down and a default on the nation's debt until at least December, it also emboldens Democrats to push for immigration changes or spending priorities without giving an inch on the right. Congress will likely have to strike a major bipartisan fiscal deal in December to raise the debt ceiling long term and keep the government open for the remainder of fiscal 2018. Republican lawmakers on both sides of the Capitol complained that Trump probably just undercut leadership in those future negotiations, making it even harder for them to secure legislative wins. In a brief interview on Wednesday, McConnell said his meeting with Trump a day earlier was, quote, cordial, end quote, and though he made clear to reporters that this was Trump's deal, not Ryan's, he said he would nevertheless support it. McConnell also insisted that things have settled down after Trump's tirade of tweets criticizing the GOP leader in August over the stewardship of the chamber and singled out some of the Republican members. Quote, "It's fine," end quote, McConnell said of his relationship with Trump. Quote, "Everything's fine," end quote. His Democratic counterpart was far more upbeat. Quote, "Today was a good day in generally very partisan town," end quote. Schumer's minority leader said Trump was presented with a GOP deal and a Democratic one, and he, quote, "went the better argument," end quote. To conservatives, Trump's turn towards the Democratic leaders pointed to a further fracturing of the GOP on fiscal issues. On the heels of the split over Trump's decision to end protections of some young immigrants, Senator Ben Sasse, Republican from Nebraska, declared the, quote, "Pelosi, Schumer, Trump," end quote, deal simply, quote, "bad," end quote, but others fretted about a new, more liberal leaning dynamic. "It's just a betrayal of everything we've been talking about for years as Republicans," end quote, said former Senator Jim DeMint, Republican of South Carolina, who headed the Heritage Foundation and is still an influential conservative leader. Quote, "What the president's going to find is, if they bet on Democratic votes, they bet on giving up a lot more than they think they're going to," end quote. Republican Mike Walker of North Carolina, the Republican Study Committee chairman, said he was, quote, "taken aback," end quote, by the deal and seemed blindsided by the president's decision. Quote, "It's unsettling," end quote, Walker said. Quote, "It's hard to find for the conference. I can only imagine what it is for leadership," end quote. On Wednesday morning, Ryan called the deal floated by Democrats to fund the government and lift the debt ceiling through mid-December as part of a relief package for Hurricane Harvey victims. Disgraceful, expecting cover from Trump on their insistence to extend the debt ceiling much longer. Ryan and McConnell instead were abandoned. Just the night before, Ryan and his leadership team were told by the White House officials that Trump would publicly endorse their plan to pair the emergency funding bill with an 18-month debt ceiling hike. They were optimistic support would help secure Republican votes. Only Trump went rogue. White House officials apologized to congressional leaders after the meeting, according to a GOP source on Capitol Hill, but the damage was done. Quote, "It doesn't help our leadership to try to hold us Republicans together on anything when the president will chop them off at the knees," end quote, said a House Republican lawmaker allied with Ryan. Quote, "Trump has got to start caring more about his colleagues over here," end quote. Trump's move towards Democrats wasn't the only source of tension with congressional Republicans. His announcement earlier in the week that would wind down protections of the Dreamers and put the onus on Congress to fix the problem drove another rift through the GOP ranks. On Wednesday, Trump shared the stage in North Dakota with Democrat Senator Heidi Heitkamp, who McConnell badly wants to unseat next year. quote, I don't think there is much of a relationship, end quote, a Republican senator said of Trump's coordination with the congressional GOP. Quote, it's up to the president. Mitch will do what Mitch does, end quote. The president has seemed interested in a sustained partnership with congressional Republicans, leaving much of that work to Vice President Pence, his cabinet, and legislative aides. Trump doesn't talk to individual senators and congressmen regularly, but he often tells them different things rather than fostering a sense of unity, Republicans say. That's led to increasingly regular rebellions against Trump's leadership, punctuated Senator John McCain, Republican of Arizona, vote against Obamacare repeal legislation in July despite Trump's last-ditch phone call on the Senate floor. There have been many other examples. Senator Jeff Flake, Republican of Arizona, wrote a book largely condemning his party for emboldening Trump. Senator Bob Cooker, Republican of Tennessee, questioned Trump's company last month, and Senator Tom Tillis, Republican of North Carolina, is trying to protect Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation of possible collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia. And of course, Trump has repeatedly targeted McConnell over the failure to repeal Obamacare. Other Republicans have tried. The quote, the president has to understand he doesn't have a leadership problem. He has a membership problem, end quote, said one GOP senator friendly with both the White House and McConnell, referring to rank and file Republicans rather than GOP leaders. Trump invited McConnell and other congressional leaders to Trump Tower in August mid-feud, but the logistics proved too complicated, and McConnell's allies say they calculating Republican leaders moves from setbacks with the president nearly as soon as they've happened, eyeing the next big ticket item, tax reform. Quote, the president's frustrated, and we're all frustrated, but we've got to operate despite the frustration, and I think nobody understands better than Senator McConnell, end quote, said Senate Minority Whip John Cornyn, Republican of Texas. John Cornyn, Republican of Texas, I'm sorry. Added Senator Roy Blunt, Republican from Missouri, who flew with Trump on Air Force One last week. My belief is, quote, my belief is that to move on to the next issue, and both the White House and the Congress understand how important it is we get something done on taxes, end quote. However, the deal Trump cut on Wednesday with Schumer and Pelosi might make the more difficult focusing all of Washington's attention on the next deadline, December, and the debt ceiling and spending deal expires. The Treasury Department can buy more time on the debt ceiling into 2018, but that still means more votes that split the party to the delight of Democrats and detriment of Republicans. Quote, that's the most toxic vote you can have around here, end quote, said a second House Republican. Quote, it's terrible, end quote. But you got people everywhere against Trump just on this little deal right here. Not even counting the dreamers and all this.
Broadcasting on Freedom Internet Radio is paid for by viewers like you. Without your support, we couldn't exist. Freedom isn't free, that's why it's so important to support this broadcast and others like it. The mainstream media political suicide over the past 24 months. Let's bankrupt the vomit brokers and support free market capitalism. Remember, we don't push socialism. We support freedom and liberty worldwide. Visit alexmorganshow.com to shop for gear and donate to the broadcast. Thank you for listening.
In North Dakota, Trump provides cover for an embattled hot camp. This comes from usnews.com, written by David Catanese, senior politics writer. As Democratic Senator Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota welcomed President Trump to her state for a Wednesday visit, it triggered grousing from some corners of her party. Quote, does she actually feel President Trump coming to Bismarck is a good thing? End quote. Eric Holder, a former chairman of the state's Democratic Party affiliate, wrote in a letter to the Forum of Fargo Moorhead. He pleaded with Heitkamp to avoid sharing a camera shot with the president and employed by all means, quote, don't give him a big hug, end quote. Bob Ballet, another former state party head, tweeted that Heitkamp's decision to join Trump for the plane trip there was, quote, hard to accept, end quote. While the most sturdily liberal Democrats revile the thought of one of their own being seen with Trump, let alone possibly working with him, Heitkamp's willingness to play ball with her president exhibits the tricky conundrum confronting a slate of Democrats hailing from red states who happen to be up for re-election next year. As the president tours the country to tout an unspecified tax reform plan, he's making sure to touch down in places where he can put pressure on such vulnerable Democrats. Last week, he spoke in Springfield, Missouri, a conservative bastion that is key to Senator Claire McCaskill's survival in the show Me State. The president didn't mince words while there. If the second term Democrats doesn't cooperate on a tax cut, Trump insisted to the crowd, quote, you have to vote her out of office, end quote. With Heitkamp, Trump traded a big stick with an olive branch, offering her a ride on Air Force One on the way to an oil refinery where he railed against a convoluted tax system he believes is hampering the country's economic dynamism. Heitkamp's offer up to a clear signal of her own that she was open to negotiation, releasing a statement welcoming the president to the Peace Garden state to hear more about his ideas. On Wednesday, Trump repeated his call to vote any lawmaker who opposes tax cuts and reform out of office, but he didn't threaten Heitkamp, who attended the speech but did not give remarks. It's a delicate and tenuous trade-off between a president who has clearly lost trust in the leadership of his own party and desperately craving a legislative victory and a senator who will be dependent on Trump's voters for a victory if she formally decides on another campaign. In 2016, Trump carried 63% of the vote in North Dakota, smothering Hillary Clinton by 123,000 votes. In 2012, Heitkamp squeezed out a win over GOP Representative Rick Berg by roughly 3,000 votes. Quote, the majority of North Dakotans support Trump, and I imagine she recognizes that. She also does whatever she can to support the state, end quote, says Democratic State Senator Tim Mathern. Quote, it's hard for any Democrat to win a re-election in North Dakota. You know the Trump results, so it's going to be tough, end quote. Curly Holland, a former Republican National Committeeman representing the state, says Heitkamp is, quote, in serious trouble, end quote. Quote, there's not many Democrats left, he says, end quote. Quote, Democrats are an endangered species in North Dakota. They're fighting against themselves, end quote. And yet Heitkamp, the only Democrat who has won statewide office in North Dakota since 2008, remains popular. A Morning Consult survey taken this spring found her holding a 60% approval rating, making her the 11th most popular senator nationwide. But perhaps the most glaring indicator of Heitkamp's subtle strength is the uncertainty around who will challenge her. GOP Representative Kevin Cramer, the state's lone U.S. House member, has not committed to the race. A source familiar with his thinking describes him as inherently risk-averse and disinclined to gamble, a safe house seat for a slog against a Senate incompetent regardless of her vulnerability. Republicans also have sent signals that prefer Tom Campbell, a state senator and wealthy potato farmer who could spend millions of his own money on the endeavor. Campbell, who was in the front row for Trump's speech on Wednesday, announced his candidacy last month. But other names continue to swirl as well, as North Dakota expect a wide open and potentially unpredictable primary if Cramer sits the race out as expected. One potential challenger who has been approached by some GOP leaders in the state is Nathy Nisse, a geologist who gravitated to North Dakota during the 70s oil boom and also attends the president's speech. Nassette told U.S. News she's still contemplating the idea of becoming a Senate candidate. She praised the president's economic record but speculated on Heitkamp's intentions. Quote, I congratulate the president offering her a seat on Air Force One. It's a nice way to travel back home, end quote. Nassette said, quote, I'm not one to get into the who's who and what's what and her sincerity, end quote. Former U.S. Senate Kent Conrad of North Dakota defended Heitkamp from liberals' critics. She's cozying up to the president and noted he traveled with former President George W. Bush back to his state in 2005, even though he's disagreed with Bush's plan to reform Social Security. Quote, I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. When you're invited by the president to go to your home state, you go, whether it's the same party or not, whether you agree or disagree. It's just good manners, end quote. Conrad said, quote, I don't think there's anybody in the country who wouldn't say we don't need tax reform to say you're open on tax reform makes sense, end quote. Quote, you may feel he is beyond the pale, but the President of the United States, that's a fact. Conrad continues, when people send you to Washington from North Dakota, they expect you to work with the President of the United States, end quote. Near the top of Trump's speech at the refinery, he wasted no time applying presidential pressure with while also exhibiting a willingness to place his own near-term legislative needs over the long-term political desires of his party. In addition to inviting 4 Republican officials to the stage to be recognized, Trump also requested Heitkamp's presence. Quote, saying, what's she doing up here? Trump asked, end quote, reading the minds of the Republicans from Bismarck to Capitol Hill as the lone Democrat emerged to join the Republican gaggle. Heitkamp briefly shrugged, perhaps caught off guard by the moment herself. Quote, but I'll tell you what, good woman, and I think we'll have your support. I hope we'll have your support, end quote, Trump continued. Heitkamp could only smile. She couldn't have asked for a better outcome, even as she's yet to commit to anyone on tax reform except an appearance to hear out the president. The harder call will come once legislation is formally drafted, interest groups begin branding it, and a vote is considered. Trump will expect loyalty in return for his afternoon, otherwise his goodwill to prove fleeting. We'll watch this little video here with the president. I don't know where he's speaking at.
I want to take a moment to say
it's in Bismarck.
Thoughts and prayers to the people of Texas. And Louisiana.
I'm going to let it load right there for a minute, and then we'll come back to it in just a second here.
This is the Alex Morgan Show. Call 32369-320 to join the show. We'd love to hear from you.
Who have truly suffered through a catastrophic. Our thoughts and prayers to the people of Texas and Louisiana who have truly suffered through a catastrophic hurricane. One of the worst hurricanes in our country's history, and guess what? We have another one coming. You see that. But our hearts are heavy with sadness for those who have lost everything, They've also filled us with hope because you watched and you witnessed the unyielding strength and resilience of the American spirit. You looked at that in Texas. You looked at Louisiana. You saw the spirit. You saw the spirit of so many other people. Coming from all over. It was a great thing. I was there twice. Our thoughts to the people of Texas and Louisiana who have truly suffered through a catastrophic hurricane. One of the worst hurricanes in our country's history, and guess what? We have another one coming. You see that. But our hearts are heavy with sadness for those who have lost everything. They've also filled us with hope. Watched and you witnessed the unyielding strength and resilience of the American spirit. You looked at that in Texas. You looked at Louisiana. You saw the spirit. You saw the spirit of so many other people coming from all over. It was a great thing. I was there twice, and I will tell you, the people were absolutely incredible. What they've gone through, you would not believe this could have happened. And I know you have a little bit of a drought. They had the opposite, believe me. You're better off. You are better off. They had the absolute opposite. The compassion of our citizens and the courage of our first responders makes us all very proud to be an American. And unfortunately, now we're getting ready to respond to Hurricane Irma. Incredible people that we have at FEMA and the other groups, they get a night of sleep. Night. Just one night. Not getting anything. They're right now going to Florida, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands, and they're already there. And they're being hit with some very, very strong and powerful winds. The ones coming now, Irma, they're saying is the largest one in recorded history in the Atlantic Ocean, coming out of the Atlantic, which gets big ones. So I just want to thank everybody and all of the people that are going down, and they're really now again in harm's way. We'll work together to help save lives, protect families, and support those in need. Together we will recover and we will rebuild.
George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, is nearing